Alright, turn the camera on. Wasn't going to bother, but I did. So I don't know, maybe I'll throw this in with another video or something else, or call it junk or whatever. It doesn't matter. Just thinking about how I have to reapproach this argument thing and, do it more incrementally, more precisely. I've sort of been over this before. I've sort of made efforts to do this, like here's the 10-minute version, here's the 15-minute version. Even the gray videos, they're poignant, they're focused, but they're still not effective enough. That's the key phrase here. There should be a way to guide any mind to the truth, theoretically. One could argue, let's say if I do possess something that's actually called wisdom, it's actually the truth, it's knowledge and fact-based, authoritative in its credibility. None of it has gaping or weaknesses of any substantial amount. Then one could argue, I think reasonably, that I should be able to convey it. It's not made out of anything special. The only thing special that's the ingredient is the personal experience that makes some things easier to see. Holy shit, we have a gaping hole here in the bog. That's not good. Yeah. Whoops. Hopefully we didn't lose anything important. I'm going to try the light. But, you lose things that way. So I mean, theoretically you could argue that, okay, I should be able to do this then. If I'm right, I should be able to make it known, because it's all going to be solid. And I obviously, having acquired this perspective, should be able to convey it. Oh yeah, but back to the what makes the difference. Yeah, so I mean, obviously I have this huge personal advantage that the truth happens to be very consistent with my life experience, in the sense that my life experience has been mixed, and it's had very bad and very good elements, and I think in that sense it's given me perspective. The bads were bad enough, where the bad enough bad where you say, oh, that I don't want to ever do again. And apparently people don't have bads bad enough for them to say, that I would never do again. And so maybe that's one of the advantages in this conversation, is having knowledge of the unrepeatable nasty. The thing that humbles you for life, that for life makes you realize that this price is too high, because you would, you could never contemplate willfully opening the door to let that pit bull of horror out the door again. That kind of thing. So I'm sure that's some measure of this, and that's some measure of the obligation in having the conversation with other people, is you have to appreciate that some people, especially young people, may not have much life experience, or may not have ranged in their life experiences into places of that depth of bad. That it was all something they kind of mushed through, and no harm, no foul kind of attitude, because it just wasn't, they didn't have a I wish I was a dead moment or something. And they didn't, and if they didn't retain any knowledge of it or something. But I mean, again, the argument still has to be made to everyone. It still has to persuade everyone. And there seems that's not an insurmountable liability, because all people know some measure of pain, and they should be able to imagine worse pains just even incrementally, one more day. I could take their worst experience and just say, well, what if I add one more day? Well, what if I add one more week? And see if I can get them to acknowledge the existence of the doomsday horror. The horror that just doesn't let you play the game anymore. It's just too nasty, too unacceptable. But then some of these arguments seem so simple. That's like, why would I have to resort to that? Why should I have to go to some complex arena like that to make it understood when I could just perhaps explain the simplicity of the equation, which is for you to live, everything else lives. It's an all or nothing kind of scenario. And it basically means that any good fortune you experience will be paid for by people who have the misfortune. It's like you can't go to the casinos and walk out a winner without recognizing logically that your winnings are made out of somebody else's losings. Okay, you just ruined a family or caused a divorce or did some other thing to gain your profit. That you don't enjoy good luck without recognizing rationally, having the obligation to acknowledge that that good luck only exists because the bad luck went somewhere else. So then you're back to the simple argument of, again, would I, to relive, the best of my life, would I impose cancer on a 6-year-old for 3 years of cancer treatment, let's say. So to have, let's say 20 years of the best of my life, take out all the nasty bits and just give me the best in 20 years of it, would I do that? Would I force a kid to have nasty, unfortunate, unpleasant 3-year horror? And my simple answer is, of course not. I mean, it's obvious to me. And so I would assume, because it's obvious to me, that there's got to be at least some sort of It's got to at least make people go, It's got to at least give them some kind of pause at how quickly they would say it's okay to cause that suffering, to get their candy of reliving the best moments of their life. Something they don't need, something they don't have to have, just pure gravy, pure profit, pure dessert, and yet it'll have a real price. And in looking at what we're doing in our lives, this is the dilemma of our lives. It's this, value exchanges, and whatever. Again, if you're having a good day, the truth is somebody else isn't, by law of averages. And that's bad. Yeah, and it's certainly bad when you could let it all just go. You could just live out your lives and quit pretending to validate, a game that's just way too sloppy to play. There's too many obvious injuries taking place. It's like playing tic-tac-toe on an interstate highway. It's doomed to failure. It doesn't make any rational sense. So anyway, basically there's one simple argument that, in my opinion, is decisive. I mean, the logic is, unassailable. It's just, you can't argue against the truth of it, the fact of it. that you basically are just recognizing that this is a frivolous bit of nonsense coming at a catastrophic cost. And although it's not built into common perception, people expect like a diamond. I'll bring up diamonds again. People consider diamonds beautiful and pretty and sparkly. But if they saw them for what they represent, if they saw what it cost when they looked into diamond, when they looked into the sparkly shiny, they thought about the men who died miles down in the ground in horrific heat, crushed to death, buried alive, families ruined, all kinds of horrors imposed to earn meager wages, survival wages, for which they didn't survive even. They didn't even survive to use their wages for anything other than to buy the survival of their wife and kids, no doubt. It's just a brutal, horrid, disgusting price paid. Just like a bunch of kids dead on the side of the interstate highway, playing the hopscotch game you're subsidizing. You're waving your hand saying, yes, draw the hopscotch on the floor on the road, and now place the kids in the proper position, and then watch them get run over. But I'm just saying that the logic of it is right there in front of you. I realized this about diamonds, back in high school, I guess, when I was reading some history book or some, sociology book or whatever the fuck it was. And, just had a little paragraph in there about diamond miners. And it just occurred to me that, wow, no one sees the blood on those things. Everybody just wears them like they're little sparkly fun things. And, they're covered in blood. In the worst horrors imaginable. The nastiest horrors. And but social convention says pretty, sparkly, and nobody sees the blood. But it's there. And again, that's sort of like my brain has always done. It's this interesting tree. But when I see a tree, I think of evolution. That one was hit by lightning hard. It's got a lot of damage. Gotta walk under that one quickly. Those old oaks can kill you. They just drop limbs. They don't give you much warning. Just all of a sudden 2 tons of limb come down. Anyway, so this is another one of these stories, a little bit of piece of reality. You can just go through all of evolution, go through all of the mass of animals that have existed, the horrors and the waste of all the sufferings, the terrible blights and parasites, just insidious shit over and over and over again. And not to have, how can you still look at the diamond the same way? You can't. I couldn't. Maybe you can, but I can't. Maybe I need to understand why I can't and you can. And that should be part of my argument. Is a recognition of why, when it's shown to you, when somebody points to the cost and shows it to you, why that's not convincing, why that doesn't change your perception, why it doesn't make you realize that you're in way over your competency level. Life is not something to be played with. It's insidiously dangerous. Consciousness is a convoluted, bizarre, and incredibly dangerous thing. It can manifest a horrible black force of suffering that should never be let loose. So anyway, Yeah, really upbeat. So anyway, so I'm just gotta work on doing this compiling of the arguments and properly arranging them into the proper nuclear bomb of brilliant persuasion. That's sort of what it's like. It's like making a nuclear bomb. You gotta, arrange all the little parts just right. You create the implosion that creates the chain reaction, that creates the eureka moment in the person saying, "Ah, I understand now." And that's what you're after. And so yeah, I gotta build it right. I'm gonna bomb your brain. Yeah, okay. That's a good title. I'm gonna bomb your brain. I like that. Radio's next door. Noise pollution. Anyway, till next time. And such.